AME Statesville, real country.
Would you like? Here we go. Welcome to Racing Roots with Hamm.
If you don't know our host, David Hamm, he's a 25-year NASCAR veteran, engine builder, and jackman.
Live every Monday evening, we have a new guest
From the racing world with their stories.
10 seconds. They're Racing Roots. Sponsored by Jersey Cape Yachts.
Now,
5 seconds.
Our host, David Hamm.
And mics are hot.
All right, good evening. Welcome to Racing Roots with Hamm. Let me get this set up. Okay, so we are set up live down here in downtown Statesville. We're down here with Scott Burns with the 7 days for troops. And then I've also got Darin here with me too, who's a tuner for Keselowski. Sorry, we're having some last second things, but anyway, we're doing our first live remote here, and we are on the radio as well on 550 and 92.9 WAME. So thank y'all so much for tuning in. I was hearing a little bit of an echo. Were y'all hearing that?
Yeah.
But I think we're okay right now. So, all right, so while I work on some of that, we'll just get the scoop on Darin. So Darin, how you doing, bud?
Feel good.
It's been a while since I saw you. Probably 2 years since I left House Week.
Yeah. Trying to go pop into the engine shop, see everybody.
Yeah.
As much as I could.
But you're still on the road. Still doing it.
Still plugging away.
All right.
As much as we can. Yeah.
Good deal. So, if you're listening to on the radio, if you want to come down here and see us, we are at, what is the address here? Is it 130? Right across from Roots Outdoors. We're at the Iron Horse. It's not the Iron Horse bar or whatever, but it's a Steel Horse right outside.
Yeah, Steel Horse, which is a real, I actually looked at that for the first time today. Yeah. It is an amazing piece of art.
Okay.
We're we're in the Bank of America parking lot at the corner of Broad Street and North Meeting. I keep forgetting. You think I'd be up here long enough I'd remember where
Yeah, I
we're
think
at.
you can.
Right next to the Federal Building.
Right next to the Federal Building. So y'all come on down and see us, and actually come down, and we might actually let you talk on the microphone. So we'll see how it goes. But some of our friends are tuned in. Hopefully the resolution's okay. That's the problem I was having at the beginning of the show. It says check your video resolution, and then Braden was telling me you got 5 seconds. So I'm trying to fix that, and it's just like bam. So anyway, what's up? Dickie Dennis is up in Virginia, and we were just talking about you, Dickie. He's the infamous fence climber. So we were asking Darin if he knew, or Phil was asking Darin if he knew Dickie was a.
I remember.
I
remember so well. Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, he's a hero, I guess.
Yeah.
Right? Yes.
Oh yeah, he's definitely well known. You ask anybody in the garage area, and they remember it like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
Same with me.
I'd like to ask Alan Bestwick if he remembers him, because I know he was the one on TV whenever that happened.
Oh yeah.
And he was mad. He's kind of funny, but anyway. Rachel's down in Charlotte. Suzette McGuire's out in California. Sissy Odell's here in Statesville. And Brett Troutman. Hello to the Troutman family out there. So, Darin, how long have you been in NASCAR now?
This is my 22nd year.
22nd.
Yeah, 22nd year traveling too. So it's been a long time. That's like 40 years in a regular job.
Regular job.
Yeah.
Huh?
And
What is
95. Yeah.
Right. All right, so 22 years. I retired like 2 years ago, and that was my 25th race season. And so I'm not gonna ask you that. Just kidding. You're doing really good.
Yeah.
Y'all are winning because you actually won a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah, we did Talladega. Yep, that was good. Just a big weight lifted off our shoulder. And actually, Penske's won one race the past 8 years at Talladega, so we kind of kept the streak going. And it's a pretty big accomplishment we only have 2 races there a year, and to win one of those 2 for the past 8 years was pretty big. Blaney's won there past few years. Joey's won there. I mean, everybody's taking their turn. So it was nice. Just a big weight lifted off our shoulder to get a win out of the way early in the season. That way we can kind of take a deep breath and just plug away, try a few new things, try and make more speed. So yeah, it was good.
Okay. Also needs another win for Roush Yates Engines, and they've been with me. So I don't know how long it was.
2013 was the first year.
Okay.
Yeah, it was 2012. Brad won the championship with the Dodge, then we switched to Ford.
That's right. So it's been, I guess, the whole 8 years with Roush Yates.
Yeah, and we've got a lot of wins together.
Yeah.
A lot of wins.
So and we got Scott Burns here, as I mentioned. He's going to 7 days. Scott, have you ever been to a NASCAR race?
I have. Talladaga's kind of home track because I'm from Mississippi, so Talladega's easy to get to. I actually got to do this 7 Days for the Troops event at Charlotte Motor Speedway here in the Coca-Cola.
Hey, Brayton, is the studio loud button mashed by chance? Because we're because I was getting a bit of an echo for some reason, so it might be something on this end. But, all right, I'll just turn that down. We can still hear ourselves, but we'll just not hear the echo. So. Anyway, I'm going to have to work on this resolution a little bit. So, Darin, if you want to go through and talk about your history, your path, your story, your racing roots.
So I started short track racing, New Hampshire. I'm from Massachusetts originally, and started working on a friend's car for short track stuff. They ran it for a couple of years, and then he ended up switching jobs. Kind of slowed down the whole racing thing, so we ended up, everybody was there helping on that car. We built our own family car. My brother and I drove it, and just had a great time for a couple of years. And then when I started college, moved away from home, did college. It was a technical college for mechanics, and wanted to get into NASCAR, wanted to get into the highest level of it. So I went to college, and then before I graduated, I came here to North Carolina because all the shops were located within a 10-mile radius. So ended up pounding on doors. It was the first week. It was Thanksgiving week, so it was the first week that all the race teams were off. And I had a stack of resumes with my roommate. Nobody was home. I mean, it was like a ghost town.
Yeah.
So we banged on doors, but it was mostly just trying to find a place to live. But we ended up finding this one guy that was working on an outside door, and we talked to him for probably half an hour. And I thought he was a janitor because he was working on a door that someone forgot their keys, so they picked around the locks, and he was fixing that. We talked to him for a while, and when he got done with what he was doing, he invited us in, and it was Mike Egge that he ran the satellite shop for Robert Yates Engines. Invited us in, and then my stomach just jumped into my throat.
Oh, yeah.
Couldn't talk, couldn't speak.
Sure.
But talking to him for the first half hour, he liked who we were, and I had another month and a half left of college, and he said, just keep calling me. It's going to sound like I'm putting you off. I probably am, but at least I'll be right there, and you'll be there in the back of my head. So when I graduated, moved over, got an apartment, checked in with him, went home for Christmas, and it was like 2 days after Christmas he called me. He said, hey, when are you going to be back in town? I think I got an opening for you. I was like, well, I'll be there tomorrow. He's like, no. Spend time with the family. Come back in when you get down here. Just give me a call. So I told my mom and dad. I said, see ya. I'm gone. Went down here and started working right away, and just tried to move up in the ranks.
What were you going to college for?
It was a technical college, so it was mechanics. It was half year diesel, half year automotive.
Okay.
I went to a technical high school for auto mechanics. I've always been in the field of mechanics, working on cars, obviously working on race cars since I was 14, but always tinkering around with my dad. When I was younger, my dad was very mechanically inclined, worked on all his own stuff, so just kind of got the knack in that way, and just tried to take it to the highest level possible and get into the NASCAR series.
All right, very cool.
Worked out good.
Hey, so we got Phil Cavalli here as well. I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but I think I got the technical stuff figured out. But,
Yeah, I'm outside of the tent here,
yeah.
hanging on the edge of the catwalk here.
Yeah, look at the hair blowing in the breeze.
That's Joe back hard. That's 100-mile-an-hour Joe. Darin, growing up in Massachusetts, did you watch some modifieds up there?
Oh yeah, ground pounders.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite driver in any of the series?
I mean, it was Teddy Christopher. I mean, he won all the time.
Yeah.
He won all the time. He was just a phenomenal dude.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I thought he looked like Weird Al Yankovic, and he was one of my favorites also. So just put two and two together. Great singer, great race car driver. But Teddy Christopher was a really good dude.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, won a lot of races.
Phil, what's your shirt say there?
This is my Burt Myers Southern Modified, the Smart Tour. We ran in Franklin County up in Virginia, about 40 miles north of Martinsville Saturday.
Okay.
They had a great race. John Smith won it in his Southern Modified. So next race in the Smart Tour, I think, is July 8th in Florence, I think. I'm not sure.
Okay, I was going to ask you how your weekend went.
It was great.
I know you-
Beautiful weather up there. That's a neat track. Have you ever been up there, Franklin County? It's kind of like Wall Stadium, where the banking and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2.
Okay.
Neat little track.
I have not
They
been
had
there.
a media center, a main building up front that looks like it's made out of Lincoln logs back in the 1800s.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Nice. Very good. All right, so Scott, is that your only time you went to race?
No, I've gone to Talladega a couple of times. Like I said, I got to go to Charlotte race a couple of times, and I've enjoyed the experience. And what's crazy is I didn't start watching NASCAR until probably '92, and it all started because of a girl.
Oh, okay.
I was in the Marines, and I was stationed in North Carolina, and I would just go hang out with her after church, and she was a diehard NASCAR fan. And so I had never watched a race, and I didn't know who to pull for, and they started talking about this rookie guy, Jeff Gordon. And I was like, well, he's a rookie. I've never watched, so I'm just going to pull for the rookie. Wasn't a bad choice, but kind of got hooked on it. Love NASCAR, and I don't know all the, like, people start talking engine sizes and things. Like, I just enjoy watching the race.
Right.
I enjoy the competition. I enjoy the beating and banging. I mean, I remember my first, I guess, idea of NASCAR came from what was the movie? Brewster. Kenny Rogers was.
Six Pack.
Six Pack. That's
Okay.
it. That was my first. I saw this the first time I'd heard about racing,
Yeah.
and so, but I like NASCAR.
Yeah, and I thought you were going to say Days of Thunder.
Well, the Days of Thunder is the next. The Days of Thunder was a great movie, and I had not watched the 24 Hours of Thunder or whatever it was, but they did recently, but they aired it a lot during the whole COVID thing.
Yeah.
And showed about the making of the movie and all that went into it, and I didn't realize that they actually filmed part of that during the Daytona race. They had
Right. Greg Sachs was out there driving.
Which was crazy to me.
Different other people too. I know some of the other drivers were involved in filming. I think Hus Strickland was involved in it, and different ones. But they actually had. I know Greg Sachs and some others, but so they made it more realistic. Is what they were trying to do. Because I think it was Greg that was saying that his car was running really good. They were just going to run to the beginning and get out. But he was like, man, I want to stay and keep racing. So.
Well, see, for somebody like me that I watch it on TV, and when I was getting ready to do the 7 Days for the Treats event for the first time in Charlotte, and Corey Collins, he's one of the ones that kind of he's with Purple Heart Homes, and he knew that I was a Gordon fan, so he reached out to somebody at Hendricks, and he said, hey, you're going to get to go do a tour at Hendricks Motorsports. I was like, well, that's cool. And so I thought there was just like, there's a fan tour that you get to do, and they said, no, you're going to get to go in the back. So they took me back where they were building engines, and then I saw all the nuts and bolts of what goes into what we see on Sundays, and I had a brand new appreciation because there is so much. I think I just swallowed a bug.
Oh,
there's so much to what goes into it, like what you guys did, and we see the end product.
Yeah.
But the meat, the nuts and bolts of it is what is really interesting.
I know it's going to sound silly, but whenever I first started in NASCAR, I was wanting to get into car side, engine side, whatever, because I went through college, technical college, kind of thing down in Charlotte, Central Piedmont. So my whole goal was to get into NASCAR. I was going to be a dealership technician first, whatever it took to get in. But when I first went in there, I was like, why don't you guys, the blocks were coming in a box. I'm like, well, why don't you just order them from the factory? Why don't, it took me a little while to get the concept of, no, to be right and to be precise, we do everything ourselves. And that was.
I love the saying, Days of Thunder. He said, "There ain't nothing stock about a stock car, son."
Yeah.
And it's true. Everything is got its own niche on it. We build everything ourselves. There's not too much that's really stock. Some stuff does come from manufacturers stuff, but yeah,
and if you
put a lot of time and effort
if you put
into
stock parts on those cars, how long would they last?
Not very long.
What amazed me was how much it costs to build a single engine, and the fact that before it gets to go in a race car, if there's a little something wrong with it, it gets set over to the side, and they're like, "Hey, we're not going to use it right now."
Yeah.
That's just like millions of dollars. But if it's not perfect, it can cost a race real quick. So that's a pretty cool. And the other thing that I've learned just from this conversation is y'all are both a prime example of why technical college should be an option for kids in high school.
Absolutely should be.
Yeah.
If we push 4-year degree and 4-year but I hear more and more like from you guys. Y'all both did technical college. Y'all had a goal. You know what you want to do, and because of that, you were where you're at now. And that's pretty cool.
Yeah, a lot of our training was on the job,
Yeah.
School of Hard Knocks, I guess you could say. But yeah, mine was a 2-year. I got an associate applied science degree, but I've never had to use it. Let's say, no race team has ever said, "Hey, do you have a degree?" When I've gone in there.
That's the same reason he was saying you don't order factory parts. You got to be taught from scratch to make it from scratch. So, like everything you learn was just what to advance you to the next thing. To say yes, I did this, but you learned everything almost on the job training.
That's right, and that's why a lot of race teams, they want you. I mean, it's good to have somebody with experience. Sometimes they want somebody, if they want them to start fresh, they want to show them everything. Because if you, let's just say, you work at a junkyard, you're pulling the parts off cars, or you're doing a little shady repair shop, and you go in to work at a race team, you're going to struggle because you're going to say, "Well, let's get enough," or "I got that part clean enough." No.
That was the thing. When Mike hired me, he knew that I was a go-getter and saw the willingness to be taught. And Mike knew that he could teach me how the right way to do it. I had enough experience to know what I was doing, but to be able to be taught how Robert Yates wanted to do it, how Mike Agee wanted to do it, how Steve Allen wanted to tune engines. It was just the willingness to be open and put forth the effort to make it right. And
You want to be coachable.
Yeah.
And being coachable means it doesn't matter what team you go to, you're able to be coached by that crew chief or that owner that do it their way. And that's what makes you more successful is the fact that you're coachable or you can learn.
Most likely, you had someone put a word in for you.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the way it works too, because and Steve Allen's got to be. He was kind of a tough guy to work with, right?
Yeah, I mean, if he liked you, he liked you. If he didn't like you, then you knew where you stood.
That's what I've always heard.
But he was awesome. He took me underneath his wing, and my first job car that I tuned on was Darrell Waltrip's car, which was, I mean, historic. I mean, I loved it. And Steve, he showed me the ropes. I mean, it was unbelievable what I learned underneath his wing.
Yeah.
Because he knew that I was able to do the job and how he wanted it done.
Sure.
I learned a lot.
Feel like we're getting any raindrops?
Yeah, just a minor sprinkle coming in.
I've got you on the camera.
You were talking about you wanted to get to that top level, and that's what you had to do is learn all that to get it, and now you've done it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
I
because,
mean,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Just when you think that oil pan has all the oil out, it might not have all
Yeah.
the oil.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, Phil was working with me some, and yeah, seen it. He knows how particular I am.
Oh my God, he's perfectionist.
I
I'm like,
can be a pain.
that's all right.
Well, I guess that's what I was fixing to say, though. But when you're at the top of your game, I mean, that doesn't change how you do your job, right? I mean, matter of fact, it probably makes you work a little bit harder. And
Yeah. And it's really just, I mean, paying attention to detail with our job. That's the biggest thing. Because if it could go wrong, it more than likely will go wrong. So making sure that you have all your T's crossed and I's dotted, I mean, that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
how many, between the both of y'all, how many hands are on that car? Before it's ready to go. I mean, how many people look at it and say, okay, it can race?
On the car or the engine?
The engine, the car.
Probably. I don't know, the car side. I don't have anything there.
Yeah.
Those are two very particular different things in the
Yeah.
shop.
Yeah, there is, because there's two parts to the race car. There's an engine and a car. And all the car people, they just work on the cars. The engines, they just work on engines. And then we put them all together and make one whole.
Yeah, and at Roush Yates Engines, there's like 100 people. So, let's say you take away the development, they don't necessarily touch one engine. But I would say probably, 20, 30 people. But then you got the head shop. So you got another 10, 50 people probably in the engine shop have touched a part on that engine before it gets all the way through.
Yeah.
We're going to take a break here in just a second. So, but we're going to tell people how they can come down here. If you're tuning in here on the radio on 550 or 92.9, 550 AM, 92.9 FM, you can also go on WAMEradio.com. You can go on DHammiam on YouTube, and you can see us here live because we're down here with Scott Burns. He's doing the 7 Days for Troops. And if you want to do a text to donate, what number do they do that to?
I kept it this time because I messed it up this morning, but you text PHH to 26989. 26989. And just so people kind of have an idea of what they're texting for, 100% of this money is going to go to Purple Heart Homes, and they help rehab houses and provide housing solutions for disabled veterans. Anything from a wheelchair ramp to going in and completely remodeling a house and making handicap accessible.
Yep. All right, very good. And Darin chipped in right when he got here, so that was very cool.
And so I'm just going to go throw this out there because I was not going to ask you for a donation. I was going to hint around if you knew people that would donate, but you had a donation ready for when you got here, and I said that I was going to challenge all crew members to at least match that donation. And what I like about it is 100% of what is raised here is going to go to help veterans. I'm not going to keep a percentage of it, so I don't mind begging for it because I know at the end of the day I get to write a check and give it to PHH, and they get to help veterans with it. So.
Yep. All right. Yeah, it's very good calls, and I'm extremely happy to be up here and join you today and try to help raise some money for that as well. So, and we're going to say thanks and hello to our Jersey Cape yachts right quick. What do you think, Bill?
Right now, it's beginning to rain out here. A little bit of sprinkle, and it wouldn't be so bad if you're on the ocean on a Jersey Cape yacht. Oh, yeah. Thanks to Wayne and Janine up there in New Jersey.
That's right. Hey to y'all up there in New Jersey. Hope you got nice weather. It looks like it might. I don't know. We're going to be okay. I don't see any R in the
And it's going to blow over. Yep.
It's going to blow on through. But we're going to take a quick break, and we'll come back and answer some of these questions that we have right here on Racing Roots with Hamm. We'll be right back.
Hey, we've caught up with Ryan Scott at the
That'd be a rainbow.
What's going on, Ryan?
All right. Sorry about the little delay at first. I was like totally. I had my. See, I had this warning pop up here, and I was like, I had this happen earlier, but it's
You had
okay.
that speaker just sitting right there on the ground.
And
I'll see it back.
And then when I went over
That
here
speaker right there.
and I was trying to do a setting, I couldn't get back to my.
You want to hand me this bag, so whatever they did, that's it.
We have got the truck for suit to budget, $33,988. Come see us today while the supplies are still good. You know, service, reliability, selection, and integrity.
Bill, I got you on the little screen.
Just you don't be picking your nose. Or...
Their drive and passion for business.
Yeah,
You're almost full.
Receive on-time and accurate delivery and unsurpassed service.
Get a little wind out here, Brady.
1 minute. Yeah, tell me about it. I can see it raining.
Oh no, you can see it raining.
Great. 704-877-3148. Or visit them online at lilshavers.com. That's LILshavers.com.
In today's world, the most important thing you can give your child is a strong Christian
Oh, it looks
foundation.
like it's all past
We
us,
at
so-
Hope Christian
Yeah,
Academy,
it's almost
located outside of Troutman, can help provide
Yeah,
that foundation
Yeah, I
by
think we're
offering
good.
an education
Non-
centered around
knowledgeable
Jesus Christ.
30
Hope
seconds.
Christian Academy's small class sizes enable our experienced staff
You
to
said
give
that's
much
your-
needed one-on-one
I know,
attention to each of our students.
I said I was.
I
Our
know, that's
school
what I
offers a
like.
safe Christian environment, affordable tuition, quality education, and
15.
accepts Opportunity Scholarship. If these things sound right for your family, then give us a call at 704-528-5555 to set up a tour
I've
or
got an
schedule your
ID
child's
coming.
free day of
All right.
education.
Hey, so we're back here on Racing Roots. Oh, ID, sorry.
Hold on, we got this.
Real Country 550 and
5,
92.9.
4, 3, 2, 1, you're on.
All right, we're back on Racing Roots with
Would you like
Hamm
to change your
right
health?
here on 550 and 92.9 WAME as well as DHammiam on YouTube. And I'm out here with Darin Russell and Scott Burns, and we're live on location at right here in the Bank of America ATM parking lot, and we're raising money for 7 Days for Troops.
That is correct. And what 7 Days for the Troops is this an event that started 15 years ago in Tupelo, which is where I'm from. And I wanted to do something to give back. I'd spent 4 years in the Marines, got out, had an injury that ended up causing me to have a lot of issues. So I wasn't able to do a lot, but I wanted to do something. And I heard about some kids' quick story that was raising money to buy calling cards to send overseas. And so I was like, well, I want to do something to help them. Well, I had done this like camping on top of a building and a little stage that I built for Toys for Tots for 2 or 3 days. And so I was like, you know what? I want to do it. I want to do a Support the Troops event. I camped on top of the tower for 7 days, and it was going to be a one-time deal. And then all of a sudden it's turned into 15 years later, over $200,000 raised to help veterans. In the last 8 years, I've given the money to Purple Heart Homes. And that group right there it's an amazing group of people. It was founded by veterans to help veterans, and there's not, I don't want to say, there's an approval process, but it's not the misnomer is that somebody that's going to get help has to be a Purple Heart recipient, and that's not true.
Okay.
And they also help veterans prior to 9/11. Now, there's a lot of groups out there now. If I went and asked for help, their bylaws or whatever don't allow that. But when John and Dale started Purple Heart Homes, it was with the mindset to be able to help all veterans of all eras, and their philosophy was to give a hand up, not a handout, and just work with veterans to help make their lives better. And so that's why I'm camped. And literally, when I say camped, we're inside my house where I'm going to stay for the next 7 days on top of the tower. Everybody asks, where do I go to the bathroom? There's a porta-john on the second level, but I'm still not on the ground.
Right.
But that's as far as I go in this little 10 by 15 space for the next 168 hours. And I encourage people to donate. But also, if there's somebody out there listening that says, I know a veteran that needs a wheelchair ramp, or I know a veteran that needs a bathroom remodel, there's a lot of veterans out there that won't ask for help,
Right.
because they think it's a sign of weakness, or they think there's somebody out there more deserving, or there's 100 reasons why they won't ask for help. But go to phhusa.org, look at the application, fill out the application, at least get it started. And the issue with that is we could have, I don't know if it's politically correct to say it this way, there could be 2,000 veterans fill out applications that need help. But the only way that that's going to happen is the money has to be there to do the event, or to do that project.
Yeah.
And so that's why I do events like this. That's why there's people out there all over the country that do things to help other people. The questions that always get asked, the VA or the government or whoever should be doing this for the veteran because they serve. That might be the case. And I would 100% agree that's something that if you serve, it should probably be taken care of. But that's not happening right now.
Right.
And so groups like Purple Heart Homes have stepped up and said, hey, we're going to fill that gap. We're not going to try to figure out the world's problem. We're going to solve the issue that we see. And if you text to donate, or you go to phhusa.org, you can be a part of that.
So what's that number again? Don Clark was asking me that. And so you're talking about John Galena and Dale Beatty.
Correct.
Who we lost
Both
Dale
from
Beatty
Statesville.
a couple years ago. It's been about 2 years now or so. But we got Brad Borders is always doing something here in Statesville.
They're always trying to be, it's easy to just go ask for money. Hey, donate to this. But Brad's come up with creative ideas. I've come up with this creative idea.
Yeah.
And it makes people, if nothing else, if somebody they don't have but $2 to donate, those $2 add up. But it has people to start talking about the need. And it gets people to want to help. And so if you want to text and you want to make a donation, you text PHH to 26989, or you can go onto the PHH website at phhusa.org and make a donation. And I'll challenge you, it doesn't have to be, do I wish somebody that would write a $10,000 check and really, put this over the top for this event? Yes, that would be great. And there's somebody out there listening that could do that.
Yeah.
But
all adds up.
I would much rather see 200 people write a $2 donation than one person just come in with 10,000. That's my thought process.
Right. So Brad Kozlowski's a huge supporter of the troops, and he grew up going to see his dad racing, and I remember him, Bob, racing the truck series and stuff, and so he grew up around the racetrack, but he's always the first one to grab that American flag.
Yeah, I love that too.
I do. That's part of his
motorhome was had an eagle on it with American flag that was wavy all the way down the side of his motorhome. Actually, my truck that I have for hauling dumpsters has American flag right on the hood.
Nice.
And then my Darin Russell Enterprises has the background of the flag in it. So I'm always supporting the troops. It's just a good cause, everything about it.
So is rapid removal debris,
Debris bins.
that's your business?
It is. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That
And
sounds
that's
like
in
a-
Mooresville area, huh?
Tell us about it.
Yeah.
So we have 20-yard trailers. They're not roll-offs. They're 20-yard trailers. We do construction debris. So call us up. We'll bring a trailer over. It's a 16-foot long, 8-foot wide, 4-foot high sides. Call us up. We'll drop it off. Call us up when it's full. We'll haul it off.
You know,
Great idea.
with that, I won't name the other company that may be a competitor. I don't know if they're even in this area, but about, I don't know, 12 years ago, I worked for a waste removal company, and that was I answered calls for the construction containers. I did not realize how passionate people are about their garbage.
Yeah.
You don't get somebody's garbage picked up when it's supposed to be, and especially those construction containers.
Yeah.
I mean, 'cause there's a time. I mean, that's a.
Well, we live up to our name with rapid removal because that's what they love us is 90% of the time we can get it the same day. If not, it's going to be the next morning. I've got a employee that I hired that spent 5.5 years in the Army, and he is phenomenal. And we've just taken the company to the next level and continuing to grow. So it's been good.
There's a lot of construction going on in the Mooresville area.
There
too.
is, yeah. We go all the way to Fort Mill, all the way down to Gastonia, Statesville, Kannapolis. We're all over the place.
If you clear that construction on 150, I'd appreciate that.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, that's only going to get worse too. More and more stuff down there. So you're talking about the military. You know how we can compare, let's say, NASCAR employees and military employees. They both tend to be extremely hard working. Whenever you say I work for NASCAR or I work for military, people are like, I want to hire you.
Yeah. It looks good on the resume, that's for sure.
Well, and I think too, in both of those, the ones that carry themselves well, when you come in for an interview, you know what kind of NASCAR worker they were, what kind of military, how just by how they carry themselves.
Absolutely.
I think they represent just in that. So,
Are we getting some rain out there, Phil? Are we?
Just a couple drops. We're right on the
Okay.
edge of it here, so it's getting a little windy.
Okay, nothing to worry about with the cameras. Right?
No.
Okay, good deal. Yeah, so we're just dodging storms. Actually, the forecast earlier this week was, it looked like Monday was going to be a wash. It was going to be 70% chance. So I guess they're right. If you get a few drops, they were still correct. But there's storms all around here. As Dawn had sent me a text and said there was a thunderstorm, severe thunderstorm warning. But I think that was south of here.
That's not a problem unless you're 15 feet in the air scaffolding. we signed those release forms already.
yeah, that's the thing. So
That was my next question. For your scaffolding that you did in Charlotte, were you high enough that you could see it with the track?
I was not, and I don't know if, I mean, they did not complain at that time because drones were a new thing.
Yeah.
I actually was able to take my drone up straight above the tower, and I could see the All-Star race, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And the crew out there at Charlotte Motor Speedway, I worked with, I'm not thinking his name, but Jason Hoyt is who I worked with at the track there. And I mean, I still am able to contact him now and talk to him. And if I say, hey, Jason, I need something, he tries to help me out. And the NASCAR family's just, I mean, really cool. I mean, they you don't hardly see anybody that's just a jerk to you.
Yeah. And that's one thing about like this whole COVID thing, not having fans at the racetrack. It's so hard. I mean, just the people that I have met throughout the 22 years in racing, I've kept in contact with, talked to them all the time. And I could drive from North Carolina to California and back and not even have to stay in a hotel room because I'd call someone that I've met over the years at the racetrack or something, be like, hey, I'm passing through. And they'd be like, oh, come on in.
If you ever come to Tupelo, I got a place for you.
Right on.
Yeah, it's kind of sterile anymore, isn't it?
Yeah.
Fans there. And
It is, yeah.
But I guess we got full attendance coming up at Daytona, Pocono, Darlington, and one other in Atlanta.
Yeah,
Atlanta. I think
did
I
so.
might go down for the weekend in Atlanta. It's July 11th.
Oh,
9th,
hot
11th.
Atlanta.
I think that would be a fun. That'd be a fun race to go to.
I
haven't
always
been to
like
one.
that track,
Yeah.
slippery.
I like Atlanta because it's like super fast. You're on the pits and you see the cars going by. Like,
And,
wow.
has anybody ever been to Buckner's? And it's about 40 miles south of Atlanta, but it's a family-style restaurant right off 75. We all meet there.
Nice.
You see that we talked about that Atlanta race maybe because I do the Tupelo event 7 days for the troops. I do it the same week every year, June 27th through July 3rd, and I always try to plan a family deal right after. And I don't know that my wife and daughter would want to go to the race, but we can go to Atlanta and I go to the race and that'd be a fun one.
And how old is your daughter?
23.
Well, there's drivers there, you know.
Hey, no, she's not allowed to date until she's 32.
I don't know what to tell you.
32.
32. She's got to be 32.
Wow. There you go. Suzette says, Suzette must feel surreal to not have any fans. It felt like that whenever I went to Charlotte for an appointment a few months ago. Or Rachel said, I'm sorry. Yes, and then love Brad's patriotism. Super amazing. That's what Suzette said. RD Ford says, last week, we ended up talking about his injectors. They were designed for 24 pounds, running fine. Great talking with David, just the same. So, yes, I was looking for any questions y'all might have. Brett Troutman, I can't wait to see Austin Cindric, number 21 Ford, for the Wood Brothers Racing NASCAR Cup Series season 2022. So, Austin, there you go. That's it, Brett. Brett's always up on the on the stuff there. He knows that. He knows a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Amazing to me. And Scott Travis is down in Florida. Tune in. He says Mike Edgey's a legend. Eggy is a legend. Sorry. I didn't work with Mike Eggy. I remember him. Well, he worked over at Roush Yates over in our other engine shop.
Yeah, it was a satellite shop for the leased engine program for Darrell Waltrip, Jimmy Spencer, Hut Strickland. Who else was there? A few others. We had up to like 7
Crazy.
drivers. Yeah.
At one time.
Yeah.
Kit Rodriguez is down in Port St. Lucie, Florida. So, yes. All right, so it's drizzling just a little bit, but that's okay. If y'all are just tuned in on the radio here, this is David Hamm, and you're listening to Racing Roots with Hamm. You can see us on DHammiam on YouTube every Monday evening at 7 o'clock. We have a new guest to talk about their stories, their path, their racing roots, and we're broadcasting live on location here in downtown Statesville at the Bank of America teller machine, I guess is kind of the best way to put it.
Yeah, and you can't miss the tower if you come down here. I mean, it's
Oh yeah.
it's
And give us maybe you can give us a honk if you're listening. Just don't lay on a horn or anything or scare us. I mean, because we are up here in a tower and there's like storm clouds all around us.
We have a crowd gathering. What? Oh, they're walking by.
We do.
well, and you talk about fans. I don't have fans. I don't think I do. But even like doing this event when there's nobody walking by,
Yeah.
it's just a different experience. It's like, oh, I need somebody to say hey to. So I mean, when you're used to thousands of fans at the track and the drivers, they're in the car. They probably really don't care about the fans. I mean, they do. I don't mean they don't care about them, but they're focused on their driving. They don't drive faster because somebody screams louder for them. But I think the crewmen, what is it called? The pit crew.
Pit crew guys, yes.
Pit crew probably work a little faster the more they get cheered for. So
It was different when, like, during pre-race, not hearing the crowd and everybody yelling, screaming, hollering at their favorite driver, hollering at their most hated driver. It was, that was the most different part. I guess the most difficult part of just understanding. Once the race starts, we're all kind of focused. Where normally you don't look up into the grandstands too much. We're usually behind the pit box, watching it on TV, and then radio chatter and all. But majority of it was like pre-race stuff. They try and put so much effort into pre-race, make it exciting, like a college football game type atmosphere, and not getting that was kind of just blah for a little while.
Sure. I can imagine not.
which race was it?
That would be strange.
Which race was it though? The pre-race show, the parachutes came in and the thing for the weight or whatever
Charlotte.
from the parachute hit the car and like at the beginning of the race it messed the car up and
There's been a few issues. I remember Rockingham back in the early 2000s. It was really windy out, and the parachutes came in and ended up going across the haulers. It was not a good sight.
Oh, what was it? I'm sorry.
Rockingham, early 2000s when it was really windy and the parachuters came in, missed the front stretch.
Hey, I'll tell you what. Do we want to? We can slide back.
slide back a little
We're
bit.
getting some rain now, so y'all just bear with us. We're broadcasting live and we're outside. We just now getting a little bit of rain here in Statesville, so we're gonna.
And the area that we're in is not the largest of areas.
Yeah.
It is off the ground.
We got the camera that we're moving around, so if you want to tune in and see us live here, there you go. That's perfect. Yeah.
Is it?
You can see us here at DHammiam on YouTube, and we will. And if you can also comment and ask questions on here. And speaking of that, get to Suzette says, how long has Darin been working on the 2 team for Brad Keselowski? I'm a huge fan, Brad and the 2 crew doing an awesome job, guys. Always Brad.
So I've actually been with Penske for the past 16 years. Worked with Kurt Busch on the 2 car, and then over the times they've switched crews around. So I worked with Kurt Busch, Joey, Ryan Blaney. I've been with Ryan Blaney for a while, and then last year, beginning of last year, they had a whole team swap, and they ended up switching all of them around. So they put all of us with Ryan Blaney on Brad's car, and we had a good year last year. Just missed the championship by just a little bit right at the end, last pit stop, and it was a good year though. I had 4 wins. It was good. We had a few wins with Blaney over those handful of years. Working with the Wood Brothers was phenomenal. Oh yeah, just a great family. Just had a really good time.
Yeah. That's why I'd like to get any of the Wood Brothers, but I'd like to get Leonard Wood on.
He's amazing. That guy right there, he's absolutely amazing. The whole family is. Len and Eddie, they were all at the racetrack in Darlington. They brought their old car down, and it was good to see them. I haven't seen them for a while just because they haven't been traveling with the whole COVID thing, limited people in the garage area. So it's good to see everybody this weekend. Glad things are starting to open back up a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure. It's there's a rainbow over there. Somewhere over the rainbow. So the thunder. Is this thing grounded? Okay, like it's okay.
I think you lost it here.
No,
so with the COVID, and I mean, how hard did it make it with you guys? I mean, and I'm not talking mask, I'm just talking about all the precautions that went in on top of what you do every day. How much harder did that make what y'all do in the race shop?
It is. We have 2 shifts at Penske. We have a 6 a.m. to noon time, and then a 1 o'clock to 7 o'clock shift. And at noon time, we have to get out because we have a cleaning crew that comes in, cleans the shop before second shift comes in. You really not allowed to the whole shop. You have to stay in a certain area. So trying to call and have someone bring something from down at the other end of the shop and getting it was just email and phone calls and text messages. It was pretty hard, but we've kind of got it down to a science now where we know who to call for what parts, and if we need something, we kind of have an idea of who to call. And everybody kind of keeps their cell phones on a lot more now. Usually you would throw it in your toolbox and not really mess with it most of the day. Yeah. But everybody keeps it on. So
that's back in the day at Robert Yates Racing. We had the walkie-talkies. That's how we communicated throughout the building.
Yeah.
Well, see, I got to tour at Hendricks, and then I got to tour at Joe Gibbs. And what I noticed about both places is like every place you went, where I mean they were building, it was immaculate. Yeah. It's like you could have ate off the floor. And I'm like, how do you keep it this clean and do what you got to do? I mean, is there like somebody that's clean, like coming behind everybody like a little robot Swiffer and cleaning?
We have people in the shop. We have people that ride a Zamboni around. Our whole shop is 440,000 square feet. It's all tile. They ride Zamboni constantly through there. But we all have the responsibility of picking up our area. If you do a little grinding, then you got to make sure you pick up everything right after you're done.
Are they just openings for that Zamboni?
that's what I'm working for. It's an old retired engine tuner position right there.
That'd actually be fun.
There you go. Scott Trevison, bigger man. He asked, just tell us a good story about your good friend and former Sapco team member, Greg Irwin.
Greg, he's a good guy. He's been into mountain biking quite a bit here lately, and everybody cringes when we ride road bikes or mountain bikes because we've seen so many people go out for get out early on Saturday, then they're going mountain biking and someone's coming in with an arm sling.
Oh, yeah.
Oh
That's
gosh.
what happens.
Yeah.
It's like playing softball, and some teams were like, all right, no more softball.
Yeah. They put the kibosh on a lot of extra curricular activities for a while because they don't want anybody to get hurt.
Yeah.
And especially nowadays. I mean, we're limited crew, and with the whole COVID thing, everybody's like, you better be careful.
Oh, yeah, of course.
All right, and I don't remember who it was, but it wasn't too long ago. One of the NASCAR drivers got injured doing something just kind of crazy the weekend of a race.
Yeah, it's been a little while. Well, I thought it should be a little while ago, but then some of the drivers aren't allowed to do well. And if you're making millions of dollars,
They're strongly encouraged not to do stupid stuff anymore.
Yeah. Well,
It's bound to happen though.
it has been. I mean, look at, well, Jimmy Johnson's not driving NASCAR anymore, but he was doing a lot of that mountain biking and his regular street bike and stuff like that. So I roomed with Greg Irwin in Japan, and that was in 1996. But he was a young engineer, fresh out of Clemson, and kind of like the know-it-all that he was at the time. You know, I think he's calmed down a lot. But last time I saw him, he hugged me. He was like so happy to see me again. I need to get him on the show.
Yeah.
Scott Beerman's been telling me, hey, you need to get Greg Irwin up there. But it's what a great guy. And Rachel asked the guest, how much has faith impacted your careers and lives?
Faith?
Yes.
Yeah, how's faith been in your, like, faith in the structure standing here now?
Yeah, we have faith in
A lot
that.
of
We're not going to
faith in Scott.
Yeah.
There you go.
What do you mean by?
Well, all right, so let's just talk about this. So they have church service. Do they still do that now? I mean, I know with the COVID
yeah,
thing.
not now, but
Oh,
yeah, they've always done it.
At the
Yeah,
church.
yeah. We've always had services race day before the race, usually right after the drivers' meeting that we always attend to. But yeah, it's always good to have.
So Derek Colson, I know you know Derek Colson. Scott, you know Derek Colson?
That name's
He says there's a storm headed your way, and it seems to be gaining in strength the closer it gets to you. That's just great. We'll be all right. Jenna Trev said, well, thanks for that information, though, because I guess if we need to batten down the hatches, we can zip up and zip up the front.
we can zip them all up and we're safe. And I mean, I've learned with this is, I mean,
Yeah.
one, if it gets really bad, all I got to do is jump on the lift because it's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to stay on top of the tower if it's lightning. I'll go underneath it and sit in the porta potty because it's on rubber still.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Oh, yeah, well, there you go. I don't know if we can all
In
fit
case
in there.
anything hits the fan, you're right there.
There you go. Jana says Jim Johnson also did the golf cart surfing. I don't know if we should talk about golf cart stuff.
Yeah,
That was a tough thing.
yeah. We've had an accident on the golf cart. Ran out of talent.
Yeah, man. I had a tough time with that.
Yeah, it was a long recovery.
That was, you did?
Yeah,
Oh, that's not good.
not good at all.
So Derek's asking also, does Darin have any insight on if Brad Kay has learned some secrets from Dale Jr. with respect to the success Brad has had at Talladega?
I tell you what, Brad's a great super speedway racer, but he's just a great racer in general because he's so methodical. Like I've worked with Ryan Blaney the past 5-6 years, and going from the rookie back to a veteran, because a veteran before that I raced with was Kurt Busch, and being so methodical, Brad hands down is probably one of the best drivers that I've worked with because he knows at any given time how many tires we have left. He knows what lap we're on. I mean, it's amazing to see and hear some of the things that comes out of his mouth to where most drivers would ask, he tells. And there was one time, I think it was last year, one of the races, and crew chief said something. He's like, no, I thought we had 5 sets left. He's like, oh yeah, we do. But just listen to that. Brad is very methodical on everything that he does. He doesn't get too riled up. He's like a Jimmy Johnson, where if the car's bad, he's going to try and work on it and not get in an uproar and just lose his mind.
Yeah.
So that's another good thing about him. Just a great racer. Great racer.
I think that's one of the things I mentioned last week. He's extremely intelligent
He is.
to be a driver, and he don't just. So anyway, we're gonna take a quick break, and maybe we'll close some of these windows or whatever we have to do, check the radar and all that kind of stuff. But You're listening to Racing Roots with Hamm on 550 AM and 92.9 FM, WAMEradio.com. Tune in app, and also you can see us here live at DHammiam on YouTube. And if you would like to donate to the cause today is 7 Days for Troops, and Scott Burns is up here in downtown Statesville. It's you can text PHH for Purple Heart Homes to 26989. That's PHH to 26989 to make your donation. We also had another donation come in here just a minute ago.
Yeah, and I'm not saying this so you can say, hey, look at me, I just made a donation, but it'd be cool to know who's donating while we're on the air. And I mean, like I said, I'll put that challenge out there to all the crew members, whether it's $5 or it's $5,000. Make a small donation and let's change. I'll tell you, $34,000 will build a basic tiny home for a veteran. That's building the house. That doesn't include the setup and everything else that goes into it. But if we raise $34,000 on this event, I mean, it could change a veteran's life.
Yep, that sounds good. All right, so we'll get into that right after the break. And if you have your questions, go ahead and put them up there for us. So we'll be right back on Racing Roots with Hamm.
Hey, we caught up with Ryan Scott at the Randy Marion Ford store. What's going on, Ryan?
All right.
I tell you what, it is always some time at Randy Marion.
Attention to each of our students. Our school offers a safe Christian environment, affordable tuition, quality education, and accepts
15 till
opportunity
ID.
scholarship. If these things sound right for your family, then give us a call at 704-528-5555.
Do whatever you need
set
to
up
do,
a
Phil.
tour
It's all right. I'll put it over here. If we're going to show something, I can pick it up later. It's not on, right?
Return that or whatever. The bracket, I mean.
Real Country 550 and 92.9.
There.
And you're on.
All right, we're back to Racing Roots with Hamm right here on 550 and 92.9 WAME. You can also check us out on DHammiam on YouTube and see us here live, and you can ask your questions, make your comments, and such right there. So we were here with Brad Burns, and we're also here with Scott Burns.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I
don't know why
mean,
I said
I like
Brad.
Brad
I've got
though.
Brad in my head.
Brad Davis, Scott Burns. I mean, if I could be
I like
a
Rain
school,
Man.
and you know, Brad
Yes.
Keselowski.
Yes, I'm like Rain Man a lot of times. I get something stuck in my head, and it's just like, there it is. And also, we've got Darin Russell with us, who's the tuner with Penske, and particularly Brad Keselowski right now. So,
See, I like saying I want to talk about Brad, but then I can't say his name right half the time, and I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna shut up.
yeah, well,
Brad K.
Brad K. Yes, Keselowski.
But is he as nice as he seems? I mean,
Oh yeah, yeah.
he seems like he's a nice guy.
He is. He's a great guy. Always will stop and say hi to someone. I mean, every driver, when they're focused, they're walking a straight line. But when he has time to engage in conversation or for fans or anybody, he will.
Several times in the past, because I'd have my motorhome in the infield, like Pocono and stuff. After everybody's gone, he's out riding around his golf cart, signing autographs, meeting people one-on-one, just going right out and hanging out with the fans.
Yeah, he does a good
Yeah,
job of
he
that.
really does. the only driver I've ever really seen do it.
Yeah, that's a great point because that's one of the coolest things ever is seeing him do that.
Yeah,
Because we need to see more of that.
Yeah, he rides right through the campgrounds. You know, somebody stops and he stops and talks for a minute and takes off.
And it makes their
Oh, absolutely.
weekend.
Yeah.
And they're makes it.
It goes a long way with race fans
Yes.
when the
Yeah,
drivers do that.
The sport needs that. more
Yeah.
than ever.
Well, not being able to do tours at the shop and things like that probably is a big downer too, because like I got in town, of course I go straight to Hendrix and I'm like, I just want to, and there's campus is closed right now and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
that sucks.
Yeah, ours has been closed since this whole thing started, and which stinks because we got a great catwalk that you can walk the whole length of the building. People enjoy that a lot. I think Gibbs has something that you can see the whole length of the shop. Without that, I mean, fans are kind of stuck between not doing a whole lot when they get here touring the shops.
Yeah, for sure.
And we have Charlotte coming up here not too long. I don't know, hopefully
What's
things
it,
open up
2
a little
weeks,
bit more.
Charlotte? I didn't plan this event right. I
Yeah,
should have
it's
ended it
Dover.
where I could come off the tower to a race.
Dover, then Coda, the one down in Houston.
It's usually
Or
middle of
Austin.
May at some point.
Yeah, Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, that's right.
Wait, 3 weeks from now, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they toured it. So Phil, have you ever taken pictures at the catwalk at Penske? I wonder if they let you take your camera up there.
No, they
I'd
won't
say
let
not.
you do.
Well, we used to have
Yes.
our cars facing the catwalk,
Oh, yeah.
and then people from other teams would come to our shop, and you can pick them out because they have nice cameras and they're zooming in.
Yeah.
Any race fans, I mean, they're one step up from a Kodak camera, a disposable camera, and then someone comes in with a nice lens and
Yeah.
focusing in on our engine compartment or something,
Yeah.
and so we turned our cars around so now
That
they
is
can get a good
amazing.
picture of the trunk.
Yeah,
That's about
anybody
it.
who's never been to Penske racing, it is an amazing catwalk.
Oh,
you
it
can
is.
see
Yeah.
the whole shop from up there.
Yeah,
all the guys working.
440,000 square feet, and the
It's
whole thing
huge.
is tile.
I know every time I went in there, I'd have to go in and do a lot of engine stuff, changing springs, lifters, whatever. And I would always be like, man, this would be a beautiful picture to take this right now. I'm like, nah, I better not. But there's a lot of stuff I saw, and I was like, wow, that's a great idea. I've never seen them do this before on a car, and I'm not going to say what it was, but just different things that I would learn, and I've never said a word, especially not on my show.
Well, and you can't. I mean,
mean,
what got me though is you go to that and talk about secrets and things like that. I was impressed with the fact that and I know other teams do it, but Hendrix builds cars or engines that other teams use.
Right.
And I'm like, if I was building but their livelihood is at stake for giving 100% good quality. But that kind of caught me off guard that they actually built engines for other race teams.
Yeah, they've been doing it for a while for other race teams, but they obviously trying to make sure nobody passes any information. But anybody taking valve cover out, that's a no-no. So it's just the cosmetics that you can look at, and that's about it.
that's a good way for an engine shop to make money, or
Yeah.
a race team to finance their own race team is to lease the engines to other teams.
Yeah.
So you say that again? They're not allowed to take it apart anyway. I mean,
Oh, no.
okay.
That'd be a big no-no if they're keeping the shop and someone had something off the engine that they weren't supposed to be doing, especially a valve cover.
Yeah.
That'd be
It's
a big,
just like photographers in the garage area. You never point your camera under a hood. You never point it in a wheel well.
yeah.
Nothing like that.
All
Those guys, if they saw you doing that, they're like, you know better.
Yeah.
Might just jump on you and
Oh
accidentally
yeah.
beat the
Oh
stew
yeah.
out
That's
of you.
big stuff. Yeah.
You can make a lot of money off of that picture.
Well,
Might be the last picture you get to take.
you could also get caught by Todd Parrott doing it in 1999 at Darlington and have him just threaten to throw you and that camera over the wall, no matter how. I was like, okay, all right, that was good.
Yeah.
Ken Howe is a Hendrick.
There's actually been a few times where we walked up to someone, crew chief's like, hey, get that camera and delete his pictures or look through his pictures to see what was on there. It's pretty secretive.
I know the Chevy photographer used to drive Greg Irwin crazy with doing it. Greg would be chasing him off. My buddy was the guy. He's like, I drive Greg Irwin nuts on the weekends.
That's a good way to do it. That's
And
for
that
sure.
right, Sam
So-
Sharp?
Yeah, the guy we went to Top Golf with.
Yeah.
All right, so if we got any questions up here. So let's see.
So, just because I'm here and I can ask questions. What is have you had an idea that was just something that came to you that you were able to share and that has been implemented on a large scale with your team?
The biggest thing with our team is we have such good camaraderie between our whole team. a lot of times your road crew is different than your pit crew. Not necessarily butt heads, but there's always that kind of rivalry type thing where the pit crew thinks they're the best, the road crew, oh, we're the best because we make cars go fast and all that. So the camaraderie that we have between our pit crew and road crew, it's almost like there's two parts of a race car. There's your engine and there's your race car. Well, there's almost two parts of a crew. There's your pit crew and your road crew. And everybody on our team gets along so well that it makes our lives a lot easier. I mean, heck, even some of our wives on our team hang out when we're at the racetrack. Our wives hang out at home, and it makes our lives a lot easier at home or when we're at the racetrack traveling, that they have someone to hang out with and get together with. So just the camaraderie between our team, I think, is one of the best in the garage, and other teams see it. Even at Penske, our other teams see it. Which is nice. It goes a long way, and it makes our lives a lot easier. You have a longer longevity in the sport when you get along with everybody on the team.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
And then also, if your wives are happy at home, it makes life.
Happy wife, happy life.
That's for sure.
All right, so I gotta ask, just as a fan, is there like a game plan for, say, driver A comes over and approaches driver B, and okay, if this happens, this is what this crew does. Is it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No,
when do you know to go all in?
So obviously nobody wants
to get
that into a fight, but there has been. I mean, if they come into our area and if they're in our roundhouse, then it might be time. I mean, we do everything we can to protect our driver. Brad's gotten into some scuffles the past handful of years, and his team has always been right behind him, and we're all the time. We protect our investment. He's our investment, and we would do anything possible to make sure that no other teammate would get to him. We would tell him, "Hey, do what you got to do. No one touch you after the race."
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of the way it should be. We were talking earlier how NASCAR is kind of like the military in some ways. I think that's one of the things. So I remember there was guys in my unit that we couldn't stand. But if you went out somewhere and somebody from an opposing, side or somebody outside the unit, started giving that person flack, everybody was right there. It's kind of like that. I said, you're watching a race and it's like, all right, you want to do it, we're going to be here to do it.
Yeah. I mean, if the team comes down to our pit area, then it's pretty much game on.
Like your brothers.
Yeah.
Which is what I never have understood. Even NASCAR, if I'm going to go, if I'm going to confront somebody, it's going to be before they get with their team.
Yeah.
But there's been too many times that I've seen a driver would go like confirm right to their old pit box, and I'm like, hey, you're an idiot. You didn't plan on winning this battle.
Yeah.
You got to remember, there's been wives that have gone down to other pit boxes.
There has.
All kinds of crazy stuff happened over the years. So if you're just tuning in, we got Racing Roots with Hamm, and we've got Darin Russell here, who is the tuner for Penske, and then we're here with the 7 Days for the Troops. And tell us what's going on with the 7 Days for Troops. So I had a comment on that. I greatly appreciate Purple Heart Homes. Plans are in the works to help my brother. It's from one of our listeners.
Oh, cool.
Well, one of the things that I want to throw out there, and this story could go for an hour, so I'll try to keep it short. But I got injured training. Did my 4 years, got out, dealt with the injury, had my leg amputated, and I did not realize. Like my wife had a little time to plan for what I was fixing to go through. Some of these guys that get injured, a lot of these guys that get injured in combat are it's a sudden thing, and it's not like anybody had time to plan for it.
And this is Scott Burns talking, by the way, with the 7 Days for the Troops. I think I didn't say your name. And we also got Phil Cavalli here as well. So anyway.
And so I had a little time to plan for mine, but I did not even think into consideration, okay, I have my leg amputated. When I get home, how do I get in my house? You didn't think about it.
Right.
Or the daily use of the bathroom and the safety issues with that. And I didn't realize until after my house was made handicap accessible it not only affected me, but it gave my wife and my family a sense of peace and a sense of I don't have to be there every minute when he's, trying to take a shower or because there is safety issues. Even like right now, if I go to a hotel that doesn't have a handicap shower, it's kind of dangerous because you got to jump over it, so that peace of mind that what Purple Heart Homes is giving, it's more than just a bathroom, and it's more than just coming in and doing a ramp. I mean, just imagine, not being able to leave your house because you can't get in and out of your house because you need a ramp.
Sure.
And a lot of our Vietnam veterans aren't going to ask for help, not because they just. I mean, what I've seen in the past, dealing with the Marine Corps, I'm in the Marine Corps League, and most of the guys in the unit are Vietnam veterans. These guys were told to go do a job. They did their job. They did what they were told, and then they came back and just people didn't like them.
Right.
Not because they made it. I mean, even if they would have made a choice to go there, but that, however many years later, now they're needing help, and it's like I don't know that I want to. I was hated. I was spit on. So why would I ask for help? And so that's why I say if you're out there and you know somebody that's needing help, whether it's through Purple Heart Homes or whoever it is, reach out on their behalf because they may not understand how bad they need help.
Yeah, that's a good point. And so the Vietnam vets, when they came back, a lot of that stuff was, we get all into the politics and the media and all that kind of stuff. But I think that things have definitely turned around now. But they still have their mindset because it was traumatizing for them. I can't imagine going through something like that. The whole process and then coming back and not being rejected.
Yeah, I mean,
it's traumatizing.
Duly righteous. This day, modern day, military is held high on a sword. I mean, those guys, like I said before, they went through it all and got abused and never got any kind of recognition. Like you just said, drove them into a hole. So.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about groups like Purple Heart Homes that are willing to pull people up. We're not going to judge you. We're not. I mean, and that's kind of what it's all about. Is we can answer the world's problems later, but there's a need
for people that deserve a quality of life. Just simple little things you can do, like you said, a ramp or making a bathroom more accessible. It means the world, someone that won't reach out.
And like I said, I mean, you never know your $2 added to others' $2, and you could change somebody's life. And sometimes I think, well, I'm being over dramatic about it, but I've been there. I mean, I've seen it firsthand. I've seen just in my own personal experience what a difference that makes. And so that's why I don't mind asking. Like, I'll go to a restaurant and I'm eating with a friend and they talk to somebody next door at a table, because I do this event in Tupelo, and they'll talk to somebody at another table, and I'll get up before the day's over with and I tell them about my event in Tupelo and say, hey, can you be a sponsor? And they may say no. I mean, I don't. I'll ask Brad if I see him. Hey, you want to make a small donation? I mean, if I see, or whoever, just because if you don't ask and you don't make somebody aware, but I mean, we talked about Brad's patriotism and how he's aware, but like doing this event, I can't tell you how many times I'll have somebody say, well, I don't understand why they don't have this, or I just thought they had this, or even when we were doing the calling cards, well, I thought they get to call home. Well, they didn't. And so people don't know unless you tell them. And this gives them an opportunity. I mean, I have a bucket. They can come by here and they can drop money in the bucket. They can make a donation. They can donate online. I like people to just come by here and say, hey. And without fail, every time that I've done this event, I've done it 19 times.
Wow.
I have people come to me and thank me for doing the event for their family and how much it means to them.
Right.
And one year, we had a traveling memorial wall of all the ones that had been killed in Mississippi. And this lady comes up to me and she shows me her phone, and it was a Facebook thing, and it had her son's name on there, and said that he was helping raise funds for 7 Days for the Troops. And I'm like, well, he's not here. And then it hit me. I saw the background of the picture, and it was her son was on that wall. And every year since then, Miss Donna Bagwell has been one of the most avid supporters of 7 Days for the Troops. And so it's just, you open those doors, you allow people to walk in. So I'm passionate about this. I can talk about it all day long.
So we had a listener asking about the donates. Text PHH to 26989. That's PHH 26989. PHH2 or PHH, so Purple Heart Homes, and then that's 26989.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that cause somebody asked me that day, well, this doesn't make sense. So your phone number that you're texting it to is the 26989, and then in your comment section you put PHH and it sends you a link. Or you can go to the phhusa.org website, and I would ask if you do it just so we kind of track, because I like to know at the end of the event that we raised, how much.
Yeah, that's on Facebook too, right?
Yeah, you can do Facebook. Just click on the link and it says donate to the Statesville 7 Days for the Troops event. And you can do it in honor of somebody, you can do it in memory of somebody, you can, and it's just, I donate. Like I will donate in the bucket just because I say, hey, I want to get to a certain amount, and like I want to challenge people. Hey, if we hit $10,000, and like in Tupelo, I'll tell this story because I love it. This year's the 15-year anniversary in Tupelo, and so I was like, well, if I can raise $10,000 before the event ever starts in June, then that's a good start to the fundraiser. Yeah. Well, I got to $10,000 like April 15th. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm building this tower right here in my backyard, just trying to test it, make sure everything's going good. And so I'm like, if I hit $15,000 before May the 1st, then I'll jump off this tower. Now I'm standing on top of the tower. I got a 5-foot pool. Okay, it's not that deep. I said, I'm going to jump off the tower into the pool if I hit $15,000. Do you know that within like 2 days, we hit $15,000?
Nice.
It's amazing.
And I did jump off the tower into the pool, but I never said I was going to jump off the top of it. So I got down on like the rail right above the pool. I didn't want to break my neck before I got time for the
I
event.
thought you had that spring-loaded foot. You would have jumped down and hit the pavement and done 2.5 gainers and went.
There used to be a time that I would try it.
Yeah, sure.
I've grown up since then.
So yeah, I guess we could put that link in the comments. Janet says yes, and Don Clark says as long as there's time for a fundraiser, you have to have a story. This is an amazing story. You always need to have someone who can deliver the message. Thanks, guys, for doing this tonight. Yes, and thank y'all for watching as well. Jim Dooley's up in Virginia, tuning in. So I have a great uncle that's buried in St. Lawrence, Armire, France. He died in June 14th, 1944. So it was just days after D-Day, I believe, 8 days after or something like that. And so he was 18 years old. And yeah, he was in the glider, 401st Glider Infantry.
Wow.
So he flew in the gliders, landed down there. Apparently he went around a little bit and ended up getting killed in Blowsville. And they said his body was interred and moved to the American National Cemetery.
Well, one of the things that we have to remember, and I mean, I'll be the first to say I didn't go to war. I was training as if I had to, but right now there are men and women around this world that are 18 years old. I mean, they're not even allowed to buy alcohol. They're not old enough to buy alcohol, but they're standing up somewhere saying, today, if I need to die for you and the freedoms that you get to have, so we can be on this radio. There's people today that are away from their families that are saying, hey, I'm willing to lay my life on the line so we can race on Sunday so that we can do what we do. And I think sometimes we forget that. I mean, we talk about I don't want to get political, but if we would get away from politics and just remember that, one, we live in the world's greatest country. As bad as it is, we're still in the best country in the world.
Yeah.
But every day there's somebody out there that's willing to say, I got you back.
Sure. Absolutely. That's what we need.
Defending our country.
Come together. So Darin, I got a question from Rachel. Well, one of our, I think it's Rachel says, are there any funny stories with the practical joker side of Brad? Or do you have any stories in general that you'd like to share? Because our listeners like to hear the stories from the racetrack.
Or maybe even something that happens in that old behind the scenes with Penske, because with Blaney around, he's a real jokester.
Yeah.
Are there any little
You got any Billy Ray
nuggets that
stories?
happen with Joey? Like
Billy
Joey,
Ray
I love Joey. So.
There is a lot of jokesters, a lot of pranksters in racing. It doesn't seem to happen as much now as it used to back in the day. but they like to pick on the new guys. So a couple stories. There was one that was an intern that came in, and you know the big checks that they get for getting pulled or something like that. Well, they brought the check home, and they told the intern, they were like, "Hey, bring this up to the bank, cash it." He's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Just bring it up to the bank and cash it." So he drove up there with the check. They all piled in the 15-passenger van, and they're watching from outside, watching this kid just walk into this bank. So stuff like that. I mean, they'll have the new kid go from shop to shop asking for a long wait. And a long wait means you're going to be waiting a long time.
Left-handed sky.
What about blinker fluid?
Yeah, muffler barons.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's all right.
Yeah, there's a lot of little pranksters.
Ethan says, "Thank you, Uncle Darin."
Yeah, that's my nephew. Just enlisted in the reserves.
Yeah, thank you for that enlistment. You were telling us about that earlier. I want to make a challenge, if I may.
All right.
Because if I'm looking at just numbers since you guys have been here, I can say that we've raised about $1,000 like right now. How much time do we have left?
Well, we got about 10 minutes.
Okay, let's say in the next 10 minutes to do as close to raising $2,000 as we can, just for why you guys are here. I don't know what I'll do for it. I can't get off the tower and do a flip or anything like that, but
Put a bucket of water down below.
There you go.
There you go.
All right, that's it.
But that's my goal. Is I always set a goal. Like I'll do a daily goal, and I'll do a weekly goal. Our goal right now is to try to hit that $2,000, and however we do it, whether it's $2 at a time, whether it's $500 at a time.
Going to a great cause.
And I probably don't have to reiterate this. I push for as much as we can get, not because at the end of the day, the more I raise, the more I get. Because I'm not going to make anything, so I'll beg all day long. It is a great cause, and it's crazy how we're even here today. I did a radio interview that you were running the board on,
Yeah.
and then you said, "Hey, why don't you come back to my show tonight?" I said, "So I ended up on your show tonight," and then just via Facebook and stuff, I sent you a message and I said, "Hey, what do you think about doing your show from the top of the tower?"
Yeah.
Here you are. So,
Great idea.
And then you still showed up and came. So it's just like it's.
He asked me if I was afraid of heights. I said, "No, we're good."
There you go. So,
Yeah, so Billy Race is tuning in. Of course, he says, thank you for all your service, and thanks for the passion to help and make a difference, Scott. And I want to go back to Ethan was saying, thank you, Uncle Darin, for supporting me while I began my journey into the Army,
Yeah.
which is very cool. And Billy says, Phil knows the story of my very first day at work in Indy. I almost killed Kyle Biddy, literally strangled him. Billy Race with Kyle.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that story, I don't think. I had Billy on my show. Billy, did you not tell that story when you were on the show? We need to get Kyle up here, and I need to ask him his side of that story as well. You know, there's two sides to every story, or is it three? The truth, whatever.
Yeah.
Something like that.
his side, her side, and the truth.
And the truth, that's it. Yeah, so Mandy Cocker of Hamm says, campaign drop down, 7 days for the troops, Statesville. And Rachel says, thanks for your service, Ethan. It's Ethan, right?
Mm-hmm.
He said,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, my nephew.
All right, so let's go back to racing real quick because I'm curious. So y'all had a race Sunday.
Yep.
You get to come home. Do you travel back on Sunday, or you like? I mean,
Yeah, that's the second race is the race getting back home. We try and get home as quick as we can. The race to the airplane and then jump on the airplane and come home. But obviously we drove to Darlington because it's only a couple hours away.
Right.
But yeah, we.
And then when do you have to go out to go back to? I mean, when do you have to be back at the track?
So we're doing the one-day shows. We'll leave Saturday evening for Dover.
Do you like? I know practice is always a good thing, but is it jumping right back? I mean, not having to practice, does that help? I mean, how does that change things for how you guys do things?
I mean, it's always good to have practice, but we do a little bit more in the shop now. So we throw the car on the chassis dyno just to make sure that we can run through it, make sure the power is good, no vibrations, make sure there's no oil leaks, water leaks, anything like that. Kind of gives the car just a little bit of time to kind of rest assured that there's no issues. Like you saw the 5 car in Talladega. They had cardboard between the oil cooler and the radiator. They would have been on the chassis dyno. They would have caught that before the racetrack.
Sure.
But it's little things like that I have a better frame of mind that we're going to the racetrack 100% ready, complete, ready to roll.
I mean, the dyno is that where that's the machine you put it on and you can like run a lap at the like on the computer in a track, but I mean it simulates all the turns and bumps. Is that what that?
No, that chassis dyno is more running the rear wheels.
Oh, okay.
They strap the car down. They have big drums that they put the rear wheels on, and you'll run through the gears and then push pedal 100%, and it'll tell you your power, your horsepower, and torque.
Now, did I dream that then? Is there not a machine
There is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a set called a 7-post. They'll strap the car down and they'll actually simulate a full lap on the racetrack.
Okay.
Yeah, you can run through shock springs. It's more of a setup type machine. The chassis dyno mainly runs drivetrain and engine components. But yeah, it's just a lot more prep work at the racetrack to make sure you're 100% ready, and there's no issues when you get there.
It's like running the engine on a dyno. You know, you run the engine on a dyno to make sure it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And most of the time it is, but there are those times where if you would have had it in the car and it had been on the track and it would have blown up, you know.
Yeah.
No bueno.
You know, the one thing that from NASCAR that I wish they would implement in like real world right now is how fast you can get gas.
Yeah.
I hate a slow gas pump.
Yeah, that's right.
Rachel asks, to Scott and Darin, what is your favorite or most memorable NASCAR win? Scott and Darin.
Always your first one, obviously. I was with my car that I was tuning on with Casey Kane. We won at Richmond, and we beat Tony Stewart. So that was something good for him because they both came from Dirt World, and he looked up to Tony Stewart. And then me just being first win in the Cup Series. My first one was actually Talladega with Jason Keller, but that was in the Busch Series. But first Cup one was with Casey Kane at Richmond. So that was pretty neat. It was a good, really good last 50 laps battling back and forth. I mean, there's a lot of, every win is good,
Yeah.
but your first one you'll never forget.
And this is gonna be a crazy one because like he's not a driver that I don't like, but Kyle Larson's win this year.
Yeah.
Because it was a story of redemption.
Yeah.
And the fact that he just like in life when we do something, we screw up or whatever. I mean, he could have sat back and just let that defeat him.
Right.
But he didn't. He came back and then he wins a race, and he's having a pretty good season. So
He is, yeah.
I think that would be a win that like I really.
That's good. And you've seen that a lot in drivers, let's say drivers in the past that have just went down this rabbit hole, you know, got into drugs and things like that. They lost a ride and then it just went downward spiral. And then Kyle just jumped right back and said, I guess he had his thought all along he's going to get back in.
Well, I think we have to use that as an example of how we treat others, because I mean that would not have been possible without a support, you know, from other people, and we have to be that to people. We have to be that second chance.
Second chance, that's it.
Because one of these days you're gonna need a second chance, and that I don't know. That's
Everybody
just,
makes mistakes.
I haven't yet, but I might. I mean, today might be that. No, I'm just kidding.
You might be,
My
yes.
wife is probably watching saying, "Yeah,
Yes.
you weren't home on Mother's Day."
All right, so is there any shout outs you want to do for now? Anybody that you know was going to be listening? Is your wife tuned in?
Yeah, my wife. Yeah, I'm sure my wife, kids, mom and dad. My mom and dad are in town. They've been in Florida for the past month, and they usually stop in for a week or so.
The snowbirds?
They are now. They're retired. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
good.
They got a nice motorhome. They go down there and spend pretty much every day on the beach as long as the sun's out.
Oh, yeah.
But they're heading home tomorrow. So, but yeah, it's all my family members, especially Ethan. He was actually, I think he's fishing right now, listening
good.
to it on his phone.
Yeah.
So we're excited about him and his new journey, and very excited. He's going to be stationed in Georgia for the next month, a few weeks. So I'm hoping to be able to maybe pop in and say hi to him if he has a free chance. But yeah, no, everybody that's listening is
Yeah, I mean, everybody that was willing to tune in, everybody's willing to, make comments, but, I mean, I'm hoping my wife, because she sent me a message while we were on, it says, I have a 15-month-old. Now, he can't talk yet, but he loves to talk to me on the phone. We FaceTime with each other. And I was like, well, hey, I'm going to be on the radio. And so, and hopefully she's paying attention and watching, but any of our veterans out there, and active duty military, I just want to say thank you, and, for in the craziness, they're still willing to get up and serve.
Yeah.
And our policemen, our firemen, anybody that's just willing to go out there today in spite of all the craziness and still show up.
Right. Yeah,
So,
for sure. Absolutely. Putting their life on the line to keep us safe and to protect us and to take care of us and all that good stuff. And if you like this video, hit the like if you don't mind, the thumbs up. If you're listening on the radio, you're listening to Racing Roots with Hamm, and we're on DHammiam on YouTube. And I've got Scott Burns here from 7 Days for the Troops, and Darin Russell, who is a tuner over at Penske, Team Penske that is. And so I know Team Penske's kind of, of course we're not going to talk much about your work. This is all to talk about your racing roots and that kind of thing. But you're also with the Busch Series car too, right? Whenever I say Busch Series, I'm sorry, I always say that. Xfinity. Whenever Brad runs. You still do that?
No, Tommy Chandler.
Tommy Chandler
does that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He heads up the whole Busch Xfinity program for us. Yeah, does a great job. He's got a lot of wins, championships. Does a really good job.
Yeah.
Scott, we got a donation.
okay.
Yeah, from the beer man and his wife Jana in honor of Scott's dad, Rich Trevison, who I think he may have been part of the Normandy invasion. He just passed a few years ago. Wonderful man, Rich Jefferson. Thanks, Jan and Scott.
Thank you for that donation, and like I said, thanks to, if you ever get a chance to sit down and talk to these old veterans, and I say this to say, I didn't join the Marine Corps League for the longest time because I was afraid it was just going to be a bunch of old men sitting around telling war stories. I mean, I'm a Marine, and I like the stories as much, but once I got in there and got this, I mean, most of them are, I mean, they're much, I'm the youngest guy in the Marine Corps League right now where I live, but just sitting and listening to these guys and their passion and their history that they have is just amazing.
And they love to tell it.
And they love to tell it.
And if you want to know about it, you need to do it quick because those guys are all disappearing slowly.
And that history is going to, because the books are, but that personal one-on-one, well, it's just like sitting here talking NASCAR. I mean, I like NASCAR, but to hear it from somebody sitting right here that's been there and done that, I mean, it's take time to listen to people's stories.
Yeah, those guys that are wearing those hats are pretty darn proud of them.
Plus, I'm trying, you say you got those connections and family. I'm trying to get an invite to a race at some point.
Oh, yeah.
I'm kidding. Hey, look, I'm kidding.
Well, Scott,
kinda.
I did reach out to a special lady to see if her son might come by and see you. I know you're a big Jeff Gordon fan, so we put a little message into his mom, Carol, to see if he might be able to swing by here during the week and wave to you or something, do a burnout. Donuts in the middle of the intersection here at 3 a.m.
Well, hey, look, I told my wife, I said I'd almost fangirl, if he even just called and said hello. But I mean, the truth of the matter is I want everybody to come by. I invite Brad to come by, not because I'm doing it, but this is an awesome event. Yeah. This is, and when it's crazy, I mean, like it's when y'all leave here in a minute, I'm sleeping up here. I'm staying. I mean, this is a crazy thing.
This would have been something really neat to have during Speed Street.
Yeah, absolutely.
What they used to have in the 90s downtown Charlotte, they would shut down 4 or 5 blocks, the whole main street, with a big concert stage at one end and at the other. It was quite a spectacular event.
Had about 4 bands on one on each street.
Well, Thursday night up here, we're going to have, I forgot the guy's name. He came by and he spoke, and they said he was a local artist. I said, hey, you want to come on top of the tower and sing? So Thursday night, we're going to have live entertainment out here. It's better than dead entertainment, but we're going to make a party of it. I mean, you might as well come and have fun downtown Statesville.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. What time does that start?
I think he's going to start about 6:15, and
there you go.
And from what I understand, he's pretty good.
And there's an ATM right next to this here. If y'all need to get in here,
there's an ATM.
Right now, it's being worked on.
Yeah,
we need that ATMs. He's down there.
Hey, look,
hero.
I'll tell you,
stocking it with money.
It would surprise you at what time of the mornings people go to the ATM. I was up at 3 o'clock this morning. And somebody was at the ATM.
Oh wow! Sure.
Did you yell down?
No, I didn't want to scare them.
So Brad Borders says, great job, guys. Thank you, Brad, for tuning in. Brad Borders with Purple Heart Homes, of course. And thanks everybody else for tuning in. And for young Braden, we're running the board back at the studio, Brandon Marion Studio, where we normally broadcast out of, but we're doing remotely tonight. So, and thanks so much to Darin Russell for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you to all our troops keeping us safe here.
Yes, for sure, man. And I guess where's the next race you're going to be off to?
Dover this weekend, the old Monster Mile.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a good one. And Scott Burns, thanks so much. I guess we'll still be in touch tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
And you'll be here the next 6 days.
6 steps. Hey, Saturday morning at 1 o'clock, I'm coming down. Hopefully the Statesville Fire Department's going to take me back off the tower. But camped out here on top of the Bank of America honor tower.
Yep. Very good. All right. Well, thanks y'all so much for tuning in, and hit that thumbs up and subscribe if you like. But thanks for tuning in on 550 AM and 92.9 FM, WAMEradio.com. Check out my website, DHammiam.com as well. Send me your address, and I'll send you one of my decals, Racing Roots. I'm going to leave some right here with Scott. So thank y'all again for coming in and for allowing us to come up here as well. And thanks to Phil Cavalli. And you have a good weekend as he yawns. And I believe that storm just went south of us. So
Yeah, it's
down that way. So
it's cool watching the clouds from up here.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So y'all have a good night, and we'll see y'all next Monday evening.
That big storm is coming. It's big right here, yeah.
Welcome to Racing Roots.
Yeah, I'm probably fixing that to go.